all the sneaker history listeners in the galaxy. Welcome to another fantastic episode. I'm Robbie. He's Mike. And we're here to talk to you about shoes.
Yeah,
how you doing, boss?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just out here chilling.
Chilling like a villain. After eating some orange, chilling. Nah, chicken. Listener, what's your favorite Panda Express item? What's your go-to order? Are you a lo mein guy or gal? You a, fried rice kind of person?
Little Beijing beef. That's one of the solid ones.
Kung Pao pork? I don't know. Leave us a comment. Tell us. Leave us a review. Tell us. Panda's delicious. I need to tell myself actively to not eat that crap so much because it's fire. It's going to be a fire episode today. As no kids say anymore. It's going to be fire.
We're old. It's okay. We can get away with saying pretty much anything.
We definitely can. You're fully in your dad era, so you can definitely get away with it. So dad era, go ahead and show us what you've been rocking and what you are looking to cop.
Yeah, man. So rocking, I brought it back a couple of years. CrossFit today broke out the JJ4. JJ's, I don't think he's with Reebok anymore, but still has a solid shoe for a good cross-training CrossFit session. So that's what I wore today. And if you didn't know, it's the red toe question colorway. And copping, first things first, gotta thank the folks over at Saucony for sending over that ProGrid Triumph 4. They actually sent me their highest notoriety collaboration that came out last year. Didn't expect this pair, so it was super cool. I haven't really gotten to wear them yet, but from just trying them on, they're super comfortable and better than a lot of those other Y2K runners out there so far. And another cop, I'm looking, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger, but if you guys are familiar, I am a fan of the Footscape Woven series, and the Rainbow Footscape Woven is sitting on the sneakers app in my size, and it may make me break my... I told Robbie, brought this up last episode, and I did some reflection. I realized I've only spent 26 cents on a pair of shoes this year so far. I might break my not buying shoes for this pair because it's one I've been really wanting, and I think it's worth the buy. So we'll see.
So you're using gift cards or love from other people. So you're still...
No, I have not broken out my credit card or cash for... I got
shoes just don't magically teleport regardless of how they're paid for.
Hey, they're not coming from my bank account.
They have to take up occupy space in your life, though. So
hey, I always appreciate any pair I get, but hey, if I can not have to spend loads of money and still get to enjoy them, I think I'm okay with that.
That's what's up. Just you can't say 40s, like makes it sound like you're the ultimate couponer. What was that coupon shows where they go out
first
and
of all,
check out?
Watch that movie. It's called Queen Pins with Kristen Bell on Netflix. It's about the whole couponing scandal they had.
Oh,
fantastic movie.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like $1 million or a lot of money. I'm looking to cop still the Victor Solomon BB 4002, that low top. It's the clean white and gold. The perforations around the shoe that are normally not there look super clean to me.
Yeah.
Definitely feeling that. I actually rocked today my Fragment weapons. The weapon had a mighty return this All-Star weekend, and they're coming back in both high top and low top now. I'm pretty sure you could buy a pair right now at the time this episode releasing. But high tops, low tops, white, black. These happen to be black, white, and blue. But can't go wrong with the question. Rowan asked me yesterday if I would recommend the question. I keep saying question.
I was like, your question's about the weapon.
No, I was thinking, it was asking me questions about the weapon. That's exactly what I was trying to say. And I couldn't tell him anything bad about the weapon. It's really just a shoe. If you haven't had a pair before and you've had let's say a Jordan 1 high or low, they're very similar, just a little bit more padded. I think in a good way. The feel's kind of a mix between a Jordan 1 and a Jordan 2, in my humble opinion. I like them. They're a bit bulkier and meatier than a Jordan 1, and I think in a good way. So if you haven't tried a pair yet, and if SGA hasn't sold you a pair yet from his sleek modeling, now would be a good time to go buy a pair. Speaking of sleek-ass modeling, so this whole episode is dedicated to James Harden. By the time this episode is out, the Harden Volume 8 would have just released. And man, let's start at the top. So we'll start at the Harden 8 and then go back to 1. I can't get enough of looking at the Harden 8 personally. There's a black and orange colorway that pops, a black and green one that pops, a black and pink one. Every single colorway of that shoe is bold and low-key outrageous. And and I think it's sweet, man. So my boy Jalal actually has been designing the Hardens, I think, since the 5 or 6. He used to design for Jordan Brand. So the Russell Westbrooks and all those good-looking early models in that line were my boy. And you can see why this Harden stuff is working so well. It's different. It's experimental. It's pushing the boundaries. It's ethos, right? What's it going for? One of the main ethos I was going for was see it from a mile away.
Yeah.
And having been to a couple NBA games, or if you watch NBA on TV, the Harden 8 pops. Like, it looks like a flying saucer in a cool way.
It's like, on your foot.
It's a really dope it's a really dope build, man. So it's like made of 3 real parts. So there's a conforming internal cuff that's like, for simple terms, a Hirachi. There's the teardrop EVA cage, which is that big oval going around. Then there's full length jet boost, which is even more energy returning boost. Yeah, right. And then multi-directional JH traction, which I'm guessing means James Harden traction. But holy hell, to only have the 3 stripes on the back of the shoe, right? I think that's a really powerful move that they've used multiple times since like the Crazy Fast and Crazy Quick days. Yeah. And the 3 stripes on a basketball shoe come up the back, because when you're running, either jogging backwards or running forward, you can really see. Yeah. The 3 stripes. What do you think, man? I could talk about how much I like this shoe all day.
No, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I would like it a lot. It goes back to what I've been saying, probably beating a dead horse at this point the last few months. I feel like adidas is really, I feel like they're ahead of the game when it comes to performance basketball right now, especially in their signature models. I don't know what else to say. I mean, they're coming out with things like you said. This one you can see a mile away, and it looks different. They've been doing really good, I think, with the Harden model design wise for a while now. We're going to talk more about some other ones. This one, I think I hate to have that recency bias, but I think this one might be my favorite. It's just something that's so quick and fluid and fast about it that. And I know people are like, oh, you can't wear them outside the court. Everybody's kind of like that. I'm like, I feel like this model, I feel like you can, if you want to throw it on with some sweats or something, I feel like you can get away with wearing it off the court because it's so, again, fluid. It's not just this rigid basketball looking shoe. It has some kind of, style and flavor to it.
I've been seeing the AE1 look good with khakis or pants. Yeah. I think the Harden 8 can do the exact same thing. So about, February, mid-February, adidas announced the colorways of the Harden 8, and actually gave you a whole, assumptive, right? Hopefully it stays to this timetable. But a timetable of what colorways are dropping when. So February 23rd, the Sculpt, March 1st, Pioneer, March 15th, Luxury Green, April 1st, White Party, April 15th, Flamingo Pink, and May 1st, Fusion Blue. Blue Fusion, pardon me. But in my humble opinion, there's not a bad looking colorway. I think the white is the least pretty just because there's not a lot going on with it, but it's a White Party theme. Like, I totally get it. But the green and black and the orange and black really speak to me. Like, those are fucking fire. Yeah.
They're all good. I'm not a big fan of green sneakers so much, but I can live with it, and I really do like the pink one. I like that. He typically does an all pink sneaker throughout his sneaker models, and they always look really good. But yeah, like you said, they didn't miss on any of the colorways. Design goes well with everything they've thrown on it so far. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of different special editions coming out.
Yeah,
when the playoffs come around, and
Jalen Williams, J-Dub from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Had a little thunder-looking orange and blue Harden 8 PE. I hope those drop.
That's sick. I like that.
Wasn't really clear, but fantastic shoe. So let's flip it around. Let's go back to the beginning, because you were talking about how the 8 might be your favorite And looking back at the Harden shoes, just to kind of refresh my memory, there's a lot of good James Harden Adidas basketball shoes.
Yeah.
So starting out in 2016, the Harden Volume 1, I will always remember it as the shoe like Lonzo Ball wore in the NCAA March Madness tournament. But the Harden Volume 1 is a banger.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, that's when he played for us for the Rockets. So that was you can only imagine every 24-hour court I went to, 24-hour fitness court I went to, me and my homeboys, they would literally, everyone had that shoe. It was a cool shoe because they released in two versions. So you had the regular version that had the that kind of like leather toe cap on it, which is really nice, really sleek looking. But then you also had the prime knit version that was a little sleeker, a little lighter. I mean, it was a dope shoe, and it was another one of those examples of a great first entry of a signature model. So, I mean, I can't really say much more than that.
So, I mean, the two-tone kind of split toe box, right? You can do like tuxedo-looking colorways to start, right? There's a really cool, I think it was Arthur Ashe collection for the Harden Volume 1. Super good-looking crap. Also, almost every shoe has had some kind of like Harden takedown or like team model, because the Harden Volume 1 also had like a 1.2 or like an off model. There's been a lot of them. Like, I actually have a pair of the Harden Volume 5. I think it's called the Step Back, the Harden Step Back.
The Step Backs, yeah. That was like his, yeah.
But I mean, both looking good. The Harden Volume 2, I think looked a little bit like an Easter egg, for being honest. Like the shape of it, right? It was like a weird, bulkier. Bulky butt, narrower toe. Still cool looking, but not one of my favorite Hardens of the bunch.
Yeah. I'm there with you. It wasn't my favorite. I feel like it was a big departure. I mean, of course you want to see a change from 1 to 2, but I feel like that was just such a like left field departure. I just was not a fan of the 2, honestly.
2018 was a wild time. Thinking about what LeBron's looked like, and God, a lot of different basketball.
Was that LeBron 14s at that time, where it's like the crazy like straps? I can't remember.
No,
what was
18
that?
Was 3 years ago. Shit. I mean, I got to think about pretty hard about what LeBron
math,
was.
You got us.
Yeah, math is hard. Anywho, we're talking about James Harden shoes, so don't mind me. So September 2018, you get the Harden Volume 3. Some pretty cool colorways. I would say the most pedestrian of the line. There's other shoes I don't like. Pause. I don't like them. Right. We'll get to them. But the 3, I think, is just really middle of the road.
It was a very generic shoe. It was kind of feel like that's, we talk about Nike putting out every shoe kind of looking the same. That's at the time I feel like Adidas basketball, a lot of the shoes were looking very similar. Unless you wore the BYX, Flyknit stuff. That was only kind of all shoots because they're really pushing that. But I think the design was okay, but I actually had a pair. That high ankle collar was abysmal. It sucked so much on my ankle. I literally brought him back after trying to like just walk, and it's so high that it's like, I don't know. Yeah. It's so weird. It was not comfortable no matter what I did.
It looks like a 3/4. The shoe's known for its traction, and the line as a whole is really known for having great traction. Like the Harden shoes are going to have the best tech shoe. It's really, the pinnacle Adidas basketball offering. But the traction and cushioning is always going to be on point with the Hardens. But I do see that. So the collar of the 2 was a little high also, but it was like soft and caged with TPU. It wasn't like a one-piece synthetic like the 3. Definitely not one of the best. Now, the Harden Volume 4, I see a lot of what Trae Young's shoe ended up being, right? Do you see that too?
I was looking at that a second ago. I was like, man, that looks just like the Trae Young shoe that he dropped. On his first shoe, I should say.
But, I mean, 2019 James Harden, that's like close to MVP level. I think 2018 was his last MVP. But, like, think about his play style and Trae Young's play style. You can use a lot of the same elements, step backs.
This is when they changed the cushioning on this one. So the Harden 4, they even moved away from the boost and went to light strike because that was the hot new material at that point. And I never played in this one. Just so happens like the website you sent me, they actually gave it an 8.8 out of 10. So it seems like he was a pretty solid performer.
Yeah, I hope Rev Up Sports isn't ran by Nazis or sucks, because this website's been really helpful and I like using it. And all the Hardens have been, the first 4 models we've talked about have all been rated like an 8 or higher.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what other people have to say.
We have our outlier here coming up, and I can definitely attest to that.
Got the Dutter number 5. What do you think?
The 5. So looks wise, it looked perfect. Like when this shoe came out, it was like, oh, this is the shoe. This is what everyone. So this is time of Yeezy with the Quantum and stuff, and this is what people said. This is what a Yeezy basketball should look like. It made sense because like the one piece upper, it was all heat press, so there was no actual seams, which was really cool. Basically, a one piece upper. But if this was the first time they tried to utilize Light Strike as a carrier, they tried to use Light Strike as a carrier to the Boost, and it was a super rigid shoe. It did not bend. It was very, very flat. So, people, it's like I felt like I had like scuba fins on when I was trying to run up and down the court. It would never break in. So it ended up being just a gym shoe for me for lifting. It was perfect because my feet would never bend. Like I can do like deadlifts or stuff in it, but I could not hoop in them. They looked great. I got the launch color. I remember staying until 2:00 in the morning getting it, and yeah, I was kind of like upset when I tried to put it on a basketball court. But again, looks wise, fantastic. This was just, again, they were trying to do something new. They just didn't get to quite the mechanics the way it should have been. But hey, you live, you learn, and you get the next couple shoes that are just bangers after that.
It's also interesting to see how the pandemic could have had something to do with that. Not why the shoe wasn't good, but the Volume 4 came out October 2019, and then you had the Volume 5 in January 2021. So who knows, maybe they didn't get to use quite the materials. Something in the supply chain could have broken. Who knows? Supplement it with something else. That's speculation. But, you brought up the looks of the 5. It's interesting. It's not my favorite. I would say I like it more than the 3, but it's in the bottom range of them.
Okay.
You like it, though. You're a fan.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great design. It was a very fluid. I like very fluid looking shoes, like fast looking. I think a lot of people do, and I think it kind of went away from that Easter egg shape of the 2, the crappy ankle of the 3, and again, I just never had the 4. Wasn't super intrigued by the look of the 4, but the 5 just really, it was a whole. I feel like the 5 was like almost like a full rebranding of the Harden line to a degree.
They definitely took it somewhere different after the 4 when you look at it with the 5. But when you look at the 5 next to the 6 that released in February 2022, those two have a lot of the same kind of experimental DNA. The 6, also not one of my favorite James Hardens. I would put, I'm personally ranking my least favorite. The 3 is my least favorite, then the 6, then the 5, then the 4. So this is like an area where I'm really not feeling the Hardens as much.
So I think the 6 may be my 4th from the top. So maybe number 4, yeah. That was smack dab in the middle, I guess. But I actually had a pair of 6s. Besides the weight, they fixed the problem of the carrier. So you actually got to feel a boost, and they actually did have some flexibility. It was just a chunky behind shoe, but it gripped the court well. It felt good on feet. I think a lot of people had a problem with the stack height because you did sit up a little higher in that shoe. But I thought it was a good performer for me, especially the way I play. It was nice.
It went back to full length boost, like you said, after using the Light Strike and boost on the Volume 5. I think it's the little overlays. Like, I just don't think they add a lot to the shoe's look other than just making it busier. But James Harden's kind of a busy guy. He's not known to wear a lot of low key clothing, right?
Yeah.
So now we have the Harden 7. Man, so it's in second place. That one's fighting the Harden Volume 1 for like my second favorite. The 8's my favorite, and then either 7 or 1. Then the 2 is my top 4.
I can probably echo the same
7 we
sentiment.
couldn't find anywhere. Did you ever get a pair of Harden 7s?
I never got a pair of 7s. They were available, but I just never. I think probably because I wasn't playing as much, so I didn't have a need. I mean, I have a million basketball shoes in here, so I really haven't bought any new performance ones in a while. Kind of one of those I appreciate it from afar. I mean, I've seen performance reviews from a lot of different people like Soul Drop, Wear Testers, and they just praise these things, you know, to the highest degree. Like, no, I haven't heard a bad thing about the 7, which is awesome. And I mean, honestly, if they're still floating around on Adidas website, they get to a point to like, you know, $50, $60 just because you know, holding on to some surplus trying to dump it. Maybe I'll get a pair just to throw in a collection. Who knows?
I don't think we will. That shoe's going to be like out of stock. I think giving a quick Google search as we talk. Dick's Sporting Good has some, but just the options on that shoe, because it has that kind of soft upper. I want to say like, I think of it as like old car seat, puffy. Not in a bad way.
Look like puffer jackets too, almost like the winter jacket.
But the color blocking on that mother is so, you can do so many sick things.
Yeah.
I remember like a white with blue toe. I like that one a lot. I like the black and orange, like I do the Volume 8. I like the Volton black. The all pink one was sick.
There's a Year to Dragon that just came out for this year, but it was a Asia exclusive. Looked so nice, but it didn't come out here.
There's a Drew League exclusive white, gold, and green.
Ooh.
Harden Volume 7.
That's interesting. I mean, that's Baylor colors right there.
Man, I mean, even it's like the launch colorway, the black and red. God darn, that shoe looks good. And I mean, what's weird is like, it's a cool looking basketball shoe, but it's an interesting looking shoe. Period. Yeah. Like, it makes you go, huh?
Shoe. Yeah. I think
like it or not.
It almost feels like it took that, like, brought the toe cap back from number 1. They gave a little variation on it and just took it to the, you know, rocket it right off from there. I mean, I think it's a good looking shoe, and apparently Adidas has taken off all the Volume 7s from their website. So, all right. Well, that's
so.
The thing.
You bring up that toe box. It actually reminds me of like the Jordan 16 toe. Had a little patent leather.
Yeah.
Just the tip. Just a little patent leather tip.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Another one of my favorite shoes. Maybe that's why I like the Harden Volume 7 so much, because it kind of looks like, it doesn't look like the Jordan 16, but it kind of fucking does.
Just
look at the Jordan 16 and look at the Harden Volume 7. They're not like
toe cap. It's the toe
they're
cap.
Not twins, but when you look at the shroud with the shroud on, it's just that material use.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Who knows? Maybe I'm crazy.
You.
I'm not saying they're the same. Very far. But interesting to look at. So I guess we kind of both made our lists in our head. Mine's the 8s from favorite to least favorite. 8, 7, 1, 2, 5, 6. No, 4, 5, 6, 3.
I think I would be 8, 7, 1, 6, 2, 3, 5,
4.
What did I forget? 4? Which one's 4? Oh crap! So yeah, I guess I shove 4 in that 6 spot, and then 2 and 5 at the 7, 8 spot.
It's okay. It's not like people here are going to be able to jot down the notes.
What did he just say? That was
what
wrong.
Are these numbers? Well, listeners, kind of in the movie business, they call it a tight 90 when a movie lasts 90 minutes. So this was like a tight 90 of Sneaker History podcast, but not 90 minutes, more like 20. Pretty 24. Fun though. The Harden line is fun. You know, maybe we'll go back and look at like the team stuff he was wearing. And then, like, the Run the One and Step Back with Nike. Who knows? No one cares, though. Those shoes were ultimate takedown models. I understand completely why James Harden left Nike. And I liked both of those shoes. I owned the Run the One.
The Harden P?
Yeah. And then that was his shoe. It was supposed to be his shoe, his. But they just didn't. And then, like, the Crusader was, like, the same thing. And then they had... not the Hyper Rev, but like the Cross. I don't know. The last shoe he wore for Nike at the All-Star
I know what
game.
you're talking about. It was the Hyper Rev.
No, the Rev's a different one.
It doesn't.
there's a lot of Nike was just recycling a lot of hyper and revving things.
Everything's got a hyper and run
But
it up, bro.
totally get why James Harden left, and then instantly Adidas this gives him a line where, when it's all said and done, looking back, it's going to be tough to be like that was a bad line of shoes.
You can't. No line's perfect, and he had way more bangers than stinkers. So
Yeah. And they're for the hoopers. You can say a lot about James Harden's extracurriculars or his like bailing on teams. Let's be frank. But like when he wants to, like not when he wants to play basketball, he loves playing basketball. James Harden loves.
When he actually playing, he's not.
But I mean, I don't like to quantify it like that because it's like you don't like your job. Like all of us, it's his work, right? If you don't like where you are, you're looking for a new job. I don't care how good you are at accounting. If your accounting job, like you don't like where you are, where you feel disrespected, you're gonna leave. So NBA players are the same. So I don't like to hate on James Harden for that. I don't like how he quits on stuff sometimes, but he's quitting on stuff to prove his point that he wants to leave. So it's not like it's
I'm out.
And if I'm not out, I'm gonna keep sitting my ass here doing nothing. So what are you gonna do? So
Pick your poison. What do you want from me?
Me to do nothing, or you to get rid of me. Me make up your mind. But it's interesting. But it's cool stuff. We'll link where to find us in the description. But thanks so much for tuning in. Go show James Harden shoes some love. Go buy a pair of Adidas basketball shoes. This is not sponsored by them, but just
It's not.
they're cool.
We
Go
like
do something
them, though.
nice. Well, thanks for tuning in. He's Mike. I'm Robbie. Peace.
See ya.
Bing, bada, boom.